Gender activists and feminists attending the world's largest gender equality conference, Women Deliver, in Canada, have taken to social media to criticize President Akufo-Addo for some comments he made about women taking up roles in positions of power. Now, watch this excerpt from the opening of the conference yesterday. It begins with the moderator of the panel discussion, Liz Doucet, asking 18-year-old Natasha Mwansa from Zambia about her experience being a gender activist.
Well, this is what Katia talked about in her opening remarks about the need to push back. And if you push back all together, the pushback can be really strong.
Exactly.
Well, at 30 years of age, Allah is already a veteran. Coming up, though, is 18-year-old Natasha Chibesa Mwasa from Zambia. 18 ans, encore, an activist, a young journalist. All us journalists are quaking in our boots, using the power of the media to communicate. Natasha, welcome to Canada. You're a young female activist in a world of men who are a little bit older than you. Let's be polite. Do you really feel you have power?
Well, I think, like Alan has just mentioned, power is really what you decide to make of it. You have to get that power. And so, to respond to that question, I do feel I have power because I do demand for that power. I mean, look, I'm on a stage with the president, so... But yeah, basically, I think one thing that really has to be emphasized is there is no way that anything is going to be done for us without us, because that's just doing it against us. So key message is really, I'm just going to go right into it. Can I stand? I feel more powerful when I stand. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so... Key message is really that I have for every leader that's out here today. Do not do anything without us, for us, because one, we need young people in key positions of power. There is no way that you can be making decisions like she mentioned about young people's health, young people's education, young people's this, and then all you do is just let them be beneficiaries. We're not going to be beneficiaries. That's not happening anymore. It's 2019. So give us power. We need positions of power. And then secondly, I really want to talk about prioritizing things that have to do with young people and female empowerment. Look, it's enough that you can promise us that there will be gender equality. It's enough that you can say this and that, but we need this reflected. You can't have a national budget and adolescent health is amounting to 0.1%. That's not working. We need these reflections in things like the national budget, increase budgetary allocations to things that have to do with young people, increase budgetary allocations when it comes to gender equality and female empowerment. I hate that we call this thing child marriages. That's pedophilia. It's inhumane. These things have to be worked on and they have to be fought. We can't have girls being married off. We can't have girls not accessing education. We can't have girls not being able to take care of themselves every time of the month simply because of stereotypical behavior. No. We need gender equality and we need this reflected in national priorities. And then, you're making it hard for me to speak. I really want to emphasize is I love that the Prime Minister of Canada has emphasized how quality is what we're looking for. But you can't expect any girl on the street to be just there and then you ask her, what do you need? And you expect her to tell you everything. We need proper capacity building mechanisms in each and every country. Young people need to be empowered with skills, with techniques, with everything they need to make decisions that have to do with their health. It's not enough that you just tell us things and then we make informed decisions. We actually want those decisions to be acted upon, and we want to know that we ourselves have the power to take charge and influence whatever is going on in our lives. So capacity building is key. And then 2 more points, I'm sorry. We have one more thing, social accountability. I want to live in a world where I am not just assuming and watching the news and my president assumes what I want as a young person or as a girl. I want to tell him what I want, and I want him to tell me and promise me that he's going to provide those needs. So we need to bridge the gap between what we want and what is actually provided, and what is promised and what is actually done. Politicians can talk, guys, but action. No. We need to be able to hold them accountable. Ladies and gentlemen, we need proper mechanisms and channels to hold our politicians, the Prime Minister, the UN Secretary General, each one of us as well. We need to be held accountable for whatever we say, and yet we don't do, because action is what we need right now. Enough talk. Let's go act, and let's hold these people accountable. They owe this to us. And then lastly, last but not the least, I really want to emphasize on this. It's not enough that we have youth-friendly corners or youth-friendly spaces. Those are good, but then we should look at it at a global perspective. We need a global youth-friendly and responsive system. The whole globe has to bend to our needs, because let's be honest, we are the largest population. We deserve this, and this is going to benefit us. So invest in girls, invest in young people, and trust me, I am giving you this word. You can hold me accountable after this. Yes. I promise you it will reap great benefits. Yes. Thank you.
Amazing. Natasha, we all stand with you.
Thank you.
Especially when if you seize the world the way you seize the stage, the world will be yours.
Thank you.
You honor us tonight by wearing your beautiful pink kente cloth from Ghana. The president of Ghana is listening very closely. Nana Akufo-Addo. He's thinking, why is she wearing kente cloth to talk to us about what we should do? You're listening closely. What is your response to Natasha? That she...
Well, let me say, first of all, how very privileged I feel to be here to discuss the issue.
Okay, just with the microphone. Yeah.
Ghana, the majority of the population is not coming.
It's on the other side.
It's not coming through?
Yeah, it's not coming through. There you go.
Is it better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I fixed it for you.
Thank you. The majority of the people in Ghana are women.
Yes.
52% of our population is women. So if we have to have an ordered society, to have a fair society, those statistics should count. They should be decisive in what is done. And they're going to be decisive when politicians like Natasha, she's a politician. She is a politician. I think that President Kenyatta would agree with me, and so would Justin Trudeau. She is a politician. When they are able to be where the decisions are made. Because at the end of the day, communities or groups talking for themselves and being representative does not translate into power. The most important thing is power, that you sit around the table whereby the decisions that you make are enforced and become the norms and regulations by which the society lives. So I think that is the, for me, what I've seen in the 2.5 years that I've been in office, that not enough movement is being made by the 52% of the Ghanaian population that are women to be able to be in the position to make these decisions. The cabinet that I had, some 30-odd% of them are women.
30%.
30%. Is not good enough.
So next,
it doesn't
20%
reflect,
more next year.
Well,
yes.
And as if they re-elect me, we'll see. But
if you
that
campaign
push,
on that, they might.
Is that push that is key. And we are not, this may sound for the ears of people like a very reactionary. We're not seeing enough dynamism and activism on the part of those who are seeking this new. We're not. We're not. No, yeah, we're not. I'm talking about dynamism where it matters.
When was the last time you saw a dynamic head of state?
I'm saying those dynamic is not sitting around here talking. I'm talking about electing people to parliament, controlling political parties, because they're the instruments by which our societies make decisions. We're talking about decisions, not wishes and hopes. We're talking about decisions.
Yes.
It is decisions that
Yes.
is going to make the difference.
But let's not put all the problems, all the responsibility at the door of women. Let's look at the men who hold them back. Let's look, you are a he.
Well, President Akufo-Addo was speaking in his capacity as global he-for-she ambassador on gender equality. My colleague Justice Bedu was at that event and joins us via Skype. Hello, Justice.
Hi, Bernice.
It's quite early in Canada, but thank you so much for joining the show. Tell us the mood at the conference when President Akufo-Addo made those statements. Over 8,000 people in that room.
I think it was more to describe clearly that the president was swimming against the tide, because this is a gathering mainly made up of feminists, gender activists, and people who have long held the view that there are structural and societal impediments in the way of women and gender people who have wanted to take up these spaces that the president is referring to in what he said yesterday. And so in many ways, many people felt that he was speaking to the wrong audience and really had to be saying what he was saying to himself as importantly as a he-for-she ambassador, but then also as the president of a country that is held up as a leader in terms of showing the way on gender equality, and then also respecting the rights of women across the African continent. What made this worrying, Bernice, was, according to people I spoke to, was that our president actually had more to say in buttressing her point as someone who has done enough to help young girls and women. And if you think back about implementing policies like the free SHS, which has now opened up spaces for vulnerable girls who otherwise would have gone into stuff like child marriages and broken homes, are now getting access to education and all of that. But it was worrying, especially for the many Ghanaian delegates who are here, that the president chose not to highlight that, but then essentially told them in the face that they aren't doing enough to earn a calling onto the table.
All right, Justice, indeed, some of them have gone onto social media to air their views. We'll be bringing that shortly. But those you spoke to, tell us exactly what their concerns were. Was it the comment itself or the way it was communicated? Because the president indeed himself said that this may sound controversial, but, well, he still made the statement anyway.
I think this was more of a communication fail than a gender issue. I think it was basically saying something to the wrong audience. And at some point, if you watch the longer video, you realize that it really felt uncomfortable. People were beginning to heckle the president, and he, in turn, felt he needed to make his case forcefully enough to get the sort of understanding that he wanted people in the gathering to get. I had people come to me after the session to say, what was your president driving at? And then we had to have a conversation. And in the end, you realize that people seem to get what he intended to talk about. Only their concern was the way and manner in which he spoke about it, and the sort of response that he was getting. And the response was very immediate. The people on the panel took him on, and yeah, it was
quite a good panel. We had President Uhuru Kenyatta, we got Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister, and we had other women there who were gender activists. But tell us exactly, we know that this event hasn't ended. Will the president be speaking again?
So the president was part of the opening yesterday. It's a conference that is ending on Thursday. It has many side events that are happening, from the issues of HIV and AIDS, issues of gender equality, education for women and young girls, adolescent sexual reproductive health, abortion rights around the world, Planned Parenthood. So it's a huge event.
All right, Justice.
Yes, it's I think the president should be speaking again, but then also many other world leaders will be speaking, Bernice.
So what exactly is the spirit of this conference? You've told us all they're talking about, but what's the spirit? What are we driving at the conference?
So Bernice, next year is a watershed moment in the gender equality movement, because next year marks 25 years after the Beijing conference, which is seen in many quarters as the sort of the revolutionary period from where this whole drive towards gender equality, gender balance, women empowerment began. And so this conference is sort of the lead up to next year, and many of the activists across the world are sort of beginning that commemoratory activities towards next year, and people are beginning to hold world leaders, many of whom are coming in for this conference, to account, to ensure that there's gender parity. And so for many of the Ghanaian delegates that have been speaking to, the issue is in the area of ensuring that women have the same access to opportunities like education, like public office, and all of that in Ghana, which is what makes the yesterday's incident really interesting, because people are thinking that we should be leading in the area of gender equality and giving women a chance. And so, yes, these are some of the things that are happening, and it is topics that are resonating not just here but across the world, Bernice.
Justice, apart from the president, we know Ghana's own DJ Swish has been performing and speaking at the event. You had time to interact with her. What did she tell you?
Bernice, DJ Swish is the celebrity here. He is. Yesterday, I did follow her around all day because I'm trying to put together a feature piece on her, and the celebrity status had to rub off on me because we were walking around the conference venue, and after every 1 minute of walk, someone comes up, DJ Switch, I want to take a photo with you. DJ Switch, sign an autograph for me. And I think many people are just amazed at the fact that a young girl, 11 years, is able to mount a stage where you have 8,000, not just ordinary people, I mean world leaders from across everywhere, with people like Justin Trudeau, the UN Secretary General, all of this lined up on stage, and she is able to speak with the level of confidence that she's able to speak.
Exactly.
And playing Ghanaian music, Bernice, Ghanaian music, and giving a lot of people, especially people from Ghana and West Africa, a lot of memories from home, Bernice.
Thank you very much, Justice Bedu, joining us from Canada. Thank you so much for joining the show. It's early hours in Canada, and he joined us to give us some details arising from the conference, especially with President Akufo-Addo's comments that a lot of feminists and gender activists are not excited with. Let's bring you some of the reactions on social media. This is from Ala L. She says, best moment of the panel ever. Ala Murabit passionately explaining to President of Ghana why doors remain closed to women. There are dynamic and incredible women that doors remain closed to. It's up to men, to you, to simplify them, not empower them as they have agency. And she's quoting that statement the lady made to President Akufo-Addo. And that's on the back of the president's statement that he's not seeing a lot of dynamism and activism. This is from Sharifa Awudu. Dear African leaders, never ever send Nana Addo to represent us anywhere again, and she calls it an unfortunate incident. And Sharifa Awudu says, gender champion, my whatever, how bad can it actually get? And Hikmat Baba Dua says, little Natasha came to light up the stage, and your president came to, sad to say, I'm not a proud Ghanaian after our acclaimed gender champion took the stage at Women Deliver. And that's the conference ongoing in Vancouver, Canada, the largest conference for feminist and gender activists in the world. It's now time to bring you business news, and the Bank of Ghana is set to sanction more banks over breach of the Ghana Interbank Forest Market Conduct Rules after fining Barclays Bank over $4.5 million. Details shortly. Kindly stay.